everyone here today. I've preached a few sermons, but never have I anguished over one any more than I have this particular one, and I'm not going to cry. Okay? So don't you guys cry either, because it's embarrassing when I cry. It's ugly when I cry, so I'm not going to do that. Welcome all of you students. Good to see all of you here. Some of the lower upperclassmen are here, and expect you to be here. We're glad you're here. We want to take this opportunity to recognize these young ladies here. But before I do that, I want to do something that I want to recognize. Now, I know, just want to recognize you. I am going to do this. I want to recognize Mrs. White and Mr. White. And let's give them a round of applause. She's looking at me like I'm going to fire you. Okay? We do definitely appreciate you guys being here. We really, really do. We're here today to recognize the accomplishments of these three little girls. And, wait a minute, what? Three little girls? Whoa, what happened to you guys? My goodness gracious. I've had the opportunity to watch these young ladies from yay big, climb on the monkey bars, play sports. I have one that lives right next door to me. She is so close to me that I can throw a rock and hit her house, which I've done several times, by the way, in case you wonder. I've watched them grow. I've watched them be sixth graders. Watched them turn into eighth graders. But after this year, I've realized about eighth graders, they just can't help it. They are who they are. Then I watch them grow and watch them mature and watch them turn into young ladies, very special, very, very special young ladies. This is the first that I can recall that our entire class started at the bottom and came up together to graduate here. And you guys are like sisters, because I've seen you fight with each other. I know that. I know how that works. It's the first of all graduating girls, women, young ladies, women, right? I know this is the year of the woman. I get that. I understand how that works. Let me inform you something, ladies. You've always been in control. Okay, it's just a little more overt now than it used to be, okay? Yeah. But that's right. I mean, just think about it. The first time that Adam looked upon Eve, that was it. He was done. He was toast. It's been that way ever since. Now you're just a little more outward about it. I'm so proud of you young ladies. I can't even express the pride that I have in the accomplishments of you three. And all of you students here, someday, hopefully you'll be able to sit in the back of our service like this, and you can be recognized for your accomplishments as you grow. Now, what I want to do here, first off, I want to read a little something here that kind of has to do with everybody here. It says, Boris wanted you to know he wanted to be here today, but he said because of your accomplishments and your inspiring him, your inspirations, he felt like it was finally time to climb the big tree in his front yard.
Hey, Boris.
The parents are sitting there and going, oh, what? We all understand. He said that he knew you would understand. And right now, as I speak, Boris is on his way to the top. So keep that in mind. In the introduction, she talked about the baccalaureate being in Latin, is what she said. And so I decided, since you said that, to go ahead and do this particular portion in Chinese and Japanese. So I know I thought I know the Bible. See, I don't know what that is in Latin, so I just go with the word Bible. But let's do this today. Let's look at some scripture. I want to look at some scripture that Now, I have really anguished. I anguished over this over and over and over. I stayed awake at night trying to decide what I was going to speak on here today. And this is all about you. It's all about you three right here. And I came up with some verses that we're very familiar with. Isaiah chapter 64, verse 8 says this. He says, "But now, O Lord, you are our Father. We are the clay, and you are the potter. We are the work of your hand." Jeremiah 18 verses 1 through 5. 5 verses. I want to read it. Just kind of look at these verses for a minute today. This is the message that came to Jeremiah from the Lord. It was a direct message to Jeremiah from the Lord. He said this. He said, "Jeremiah, go down to the potter's house. I will give you my message there." So I went down to the potter's house, and I saw him working with clay at the wheel. He was making a pot from clay. But there was something wrong with the pot, so the potter used that clay to make another pot. With his hands, he shaped the pot the way he wanted it to be. Then the message from the Lord came to me. It said, "Family of Israel, you know that I can do the same thing with you. You are like the clay in the potter's hand, and I am the potter." These are the direct words to Jeremiah from the Lord. You are clay, and I am the potter. Verse 4 says, he was making a pot from clay. But when there was something wrong with the pot, the potter used the same clay. He used that clay and continued to make that pot. If you really think about pottery, how many of you have done some pottery? You should have in the past. On a wheel, and you plop the clay down and make this. There's a place in Georgia they go to. It's a place where they make pottery, and they sit there and they just set it down and make this pottery, and it turns into this absolutely beautiful stuff. I mean, you see this wet, glommy mess of clay they put down there. And by the time they get done, they've got this wonderful creation, if you will, that they've taken and they've made. And you see, this is no different now than it was back then. This was something that was extremely relatable to the people. It was extremely relatable to Isaiah and Jeremiah. They could relate to what a potter does. He takes this glob and he makes this beautiful creation from whatever that glob is. And so it was totally relatable. And he's telling Jeremiah here that this is the way Israel is. This is what I can do with Israel. He can make Israel the way he wants it to be. Verse number 6 says, "Family of Israel, you know that I can do the same thing." And as I look at these three young ladies right here, I see how God has been molding their lives. I see what God has done in each of your lives. I know your families. I know your families probably better than any families I know in the whole school. In spite of the fact that I throw rocks at one of the families. And I know what your families have been trying to do and have done a great job with you in helping mold you. But I know the molding of your life is more importantly done by God. Now, let's take a look at this and what is the problem with this molding? Is there an actual problem with it? Well, here it is. God is there to mold your lives. The problem is when we don't let him mold our lives. When we refuse to let God take control and mold our lives. You ladies are taking a big step now. Deservedly so, by the way. Great and wonderful accomplishments. It's your next step. But what you have to do is you have to continue to let God mold your lives. Here's the difference about the potter and the clay. When the potter gets done with the clay, they take it, they put it in the fire, and they get it really hot, and it hardens up. But I believe in our lives that we are continually in the process of being molded. I believe that it's not some time that God says, "Oh, I'm done molding you." You are there. You are just exactly the way I want you to be. I don't believe that ever happens in our lives. I believe He continues to mold us. He continues to make us better. The key is if we will let Him. If we will let Him in our lives do with us what He wants us to do. You ladies have been in our school forever. You know, yeah, man, you're telling me it's forever, right? Oh boy, you have no idea how long this has been. You know, you actually know no other school per se. This is it. This is your life. This is what you grew up in. You grew up with these teachers and these other students. And this is what you know. You're about to step out into something that is exciting. At least I hope it is. Is it exciting? Yeah, come on. It's exciting, right? Are you ready to be done here? You can say that. I mean, you should. Yeah, I'm ready to be done here. Yeah. But the teachers look at me. Yeah, no, you're ready to be done. You're ready to move on. You're ready to have God take a hold of you and continue to mold you. And I want you to understand the difficultness of this as you leave this place. Because you haven't known this place your whole life. It's going to be an eye-opener when you get out. I know you've heard that, but trust me, it will be. It will be an eye-opener. But God says He'll take us, no matter who we are, no matter how ragged we are, no matter what is in our life, He will mold us if we will let Him. Keep in mind, God has been molding you. There's no question. He's been molding you. He will continue to mold you. He will continue to mold all of us. He has been molding us. He will continue to mold us, and He always will. If we will let Him. You've heard this before. God has a plan for our lives. And sometimes it's difficult, if not impossible, to try to decide what God's plan is for our life. You guys have this all figured out, right? I know exactly what God's plan, right? Don't you? You don't. You don't? Why, you're seniors. You should have this down pat by now, right? I don't know what the Lord has for me, okay? So I can't expect to figure out, you guys figure out what He has for me, but just know that He does. He has a plan for your life. How's the old saying go? If you want to make God laugh, go ahead and plan something. Plan your future and make God laugh, basically. Because He has a plan for each and every one of us. He knew who we were. He knew before we were ever born. He knew that. He knew that you were going to turn out to be 3 of my most favorite friends. Sorry. 3 of the finest young ladies I think I've ever met. And I am proud to be in that position to know you. And my prayer is that God will continue to bless your lives. My prayer is that you will continue to let God mold you in the way only He can mold you. Now, I've got something up here today, and this is the color of the waves, in case you're wondering, on the building. Does that look about right? Yeah, okay, maybe not. All right, what I want to do is I want to hand these out. And I don't want you to look at them, because we're going to do this together. Okay, I'm just going to give you these, and you just put them in your lap. Okay, don't look at them at all. There you go. Look to the sky. That'll be good. I think I have. Okay, this one says Mary, I think. Just hold. There you go. Good. This one says Zoe. Good. You're looking, stop. This one is going to be yours. All right, okay, you can look down. What I want you to do is I want you just to don't take anything apart there. Just look at that. And notice there's a little tag on those. See the little white tag? The black letters has your name, and the red letters has a word that only means something to all of us, right? What is that word? France. I'm sorry, you don't get it on this one. You do not get it on this one. It's between all of us. Also, if you notice, tied to that little string, there's a little piece of acrylic. See that little piece of acrylic there with a hole in it? All right, it doesn't look like much. Okay, it just like a piece of acrylic. You know, you can't really even tell what it looks like. But that's kind of how we are in our lives. We start out kind of as a piece of acrylic like that, if you will. And as God works with us, hopefully we end up looking something like what's inside those pouches. Why don't you see if you can take those out? Take a look. Now they are supposedly your favorite colors. Do you remember being asked somewhere what your favorite color was? Okay, that's it. Now here's the point. When you use these, they're twist pins, by the way. You twist them a bit. Okay, got it. All right. When you use these, I don't want you to think about me. That's not the purpose. I want you to think about God is still molding your lives. He's still making beauty out of each one of your lives. It's interesting how God can speak to the entire population of Israel, if you will, in the scriptures here. He says that I can mold you, an entire population. How much more can he mold the single individual? How much more can he mold us? So when you look at those, if you will, just remember that, you know, God's working to make you and I, all of us, what he wants us to be. And I just want you guys to have those. And usually, by the way, they're to be used, okay? So, that being said, I wanted to bring up one other thing here before I get finished. I know it's a little early, but Boris, I even got graduates going, yeah, let's hear about Boris. Boris was an interesting cat. Still is, I guess. And Boris remember when Boris would come up every morning, he'd come out of the house, and he'd sneak around the side of the house. I'm going to do it, just get ready, okay? He'd sneak out of the house, he'd sneak around the corner of the house, and he'd look at it and go, oh man, what a pretty day this is. Look around the corner of the house, and he'd walk around towards the front corner, he'd look around, and he saw that big oak tree in the front of the yard. And he would run over that tree, right to the side of that's what he did, right? He did that, didn't he? Over, right to the side of that oak tree. And he would speak on that oak tree. He'd be looking around, and he'd look up at it, and he'd go, now, I think I'll climb it some other day. And he would jump down, and he would go off, and he would go see Taffy. Remember Taffy? You remember Taffy, right? Taffy was a little kitty cat there. Just bear with us, okay? We're communicating here. Trust me, we are. But he would look at that tree and he would go, you know, not today. Not today. And Boris decided that he's finally going to climb this tree. He's finally going to climb this tree. And as I say, as far as I know, he's doing that right now. And I know that climbing this tree, there's going to be difficultness of him getting up there. It may have been what he was afraid of, or, you know, but he's going to find limbs that are kind of gnarly, and have to reach to the next limb, and Might not be as close and his claws dig in quite like he wants them to. And he's going up this tree, and can you picture it in your mind? Picture that black cat, dude. Come on, let's picture it together. Okay, he's climbing this tree and he's struggling, and he gets up to this one particular place, and there's a limb. He reaches up, he grabs it, and he goes, oh man, got that one. And he keeps on going, he goes, oh, got that one. And he keeps on climbing, he goes, man, he looks back and goes, whew, look how high I am now. There's no turning back. This is not getting any easier necessarily, but there's no turning back. And he's climbing this tree, and he's just working the best way he can. And let me tell you something, girls, ladies, young ladies. You have climbed a tree. You have climbed a tree. You have climbed to the top of that tree. And I don't know, I have no idea how... Wait a minute, sorry. This is embarrassing. It was Byron. Hello? Yeah. Really? Do you know where I am right now? Yeah, I know where you are, but do you know where I am? You sound excited. What in the world? Seriously? Really? Oh, man, I am so sorry. I am so proud. That's great. Well, good for you. You see? You see how that was? Yeah. All right, well, I'll see you later. All right, bye. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. You know who that was? I know. You're going to find it hard to believe. That was Boris. Boris called me on the phone. You know where Boris is right now? Do you know where he is? He called me on the phone? Are you kidding me? He called me on the phone from the top of the tree. And he's looking around and he goes, man, this is cool. I can't believe what I can see. I can't believe what I've accomplished. And I just didn't realize once I did this, what it was going to be like. That's what he said. And he's looking around and he goes, bud, you know something? He goes, you know what I see? You know what I can see now? I can see a taller, bigger tree. And now I want to climb that taller, bigger tree. Because I cannot wait to see what's at the top of that tree. You guys have another tree to climb. You're going to be climbing trees your whole life. And you're going to be so happy when you reach the top of that tree and you look around and go, wow, look how great God is. Look how great God is. And then you look around and go, there's another tree. Another tree. I can't wait to climb it. My prayer is that God will be with you, ladies. That you will let God work in your lives. That you will let God mold you and make you who He wants you to be. Not what you want to be, but what He wants you to be. That will be my prayer. So that when you get to the top of the next tree, you can look around and go, there's another tree. It's bigger, it's taller, but I'm ready. You've climbed the tree. And you've done well, ladies. You have done extremely well. I can be no more proud of you than I am right now. And I know that your parents can be no more proud of you than they are right now. Let's pray.